What's up, dudes? HW here. Another beautiful, beautiful morning in Nashville, and today we are talking about snow's still melting outside, and I got a hot cup of coffee, so life could be worse. Today we're talking about my NAMM 2025 Winter NAMM gear predictions. I am going to make 3 predictions. First, I believe Fender has been making a huge mistake. They've been very popular with this Tone Master kind of series of, digital amplifiers, fake tube amps, as some people might call them. And basically, they've been making this Tone Master series, which is, in tone, supposed to be identical to the all-tube versions of the amp, but they've been making them solid state with this sort. Well, not solid state. They're digital. They're digital emulations. They're modeled. It's a modeling amp, really. But it just does one model. And I think Fender has been testing the market. They've got a lot of people say a lot of nice things. It's obviously, if you watch YouTube, it's been one of the most pushed items that you can see. All the big channels have been, sort of paid to do videos on. But how are they? Well, I actually tried one in a Guitar Center, and last year at NAMM. Who had one? Someone had one at their booth, and I tried it, and honestly, it sounded like the thing. I mean, they're using the same speakers and the same sort of wood and everything. It would make sense that they sound pretty amp-like in both those environments, Guitar Center and NAMM. If something sounds 89% like the other thing, in a Guitar Center on a weekend and in a NAMM booth, they're going to sound identical, right? Not a place to pick up nuances. But Fender has been making these amps, and they really confuse the heck out of me. There's so many cool things they could do to those amps that would make them amazing, and they're not. So one of those things would be this. UA has obviously shown, along with all the other modelers, HX Stomp, Kemper Player, Quad Cortex, Nano Cortex, the Tone X pedals. All of these have shown there's a real demand in the market for a small pedalboard friendly option. Why is Fender not putting their Tone Master stuff into pedals? I don't think this is going to go on for too much longer. I don't think they're going to sit by the sideline. They're obviously selling these things. They spent a ton of money to get this thing produced, I know. I don't see why they wouldn't match this with just a little bit of speaker modeling or just IRs that they make and sort of fix in there and make this into a pedal. I also don't understand why that wouldn't have options to go, here's a deluxe, flip the switch, here's a deluxe with the bright switch clipped out, or like maybe here's the bright switch in for a more modern sound, and then here is a tweed deluxe, or here's the brown, black, and silver panel deluxe all in one. There's so many options they could do. They could do one that just has 5 amps on it, or they can just do them one at a time. I don't know. But how cool would a pedal be that is just called like, the black panel collection, and it's all of the black panel amps, all like 14, all in a pedal. I mean, Fender would sell the hell out of that. I don't know why they don't do that. I actually predict we're going to see individual Tone Master pedals this NAMM. I also want to make one more prediction about another amp company. I think Marshall is going to be there this year, and I think Marshall's going to show up in a big way. I think they're going to have their version of Tone Master, and I think it's going to be something you can take with you. I bet Marshall's going to do what Victory Amps did and make like a PCB printed board with like JFETs or something that emulate tubes, like kind of like maybe something like a Friedman X, IRX, something in that size range, and when I say something like that, I mean something that's meant to be put on your pedal board but replace amps, but is kind of larger and does a thing. I think Marshall's got to get into that space, and I think they will be getting into that space. And I'm really excited to see what they do. Marshall has not done a ton of amazing things in recent years. I'm not sure if you guys have been paying attention, but the JVMs were cool, the sort of vintage moderns. Seemed like the mini thing they did was good, but Marshall hasn't really to me, come out with a classic amp in damn near 20 years here. And that really has me wondering what they're doing over there. It's funny, I thought the Astra series was actually really great. But to me, Marshall needs to take a little page out of some other people's books. They need to go back to their history, and they need to be making amps that are just kick-ass, like awesome modern inventions. Marshall tomorrow should make basically the same amp that Dr. Z made in the Route 66, where they need to say stuff like, what if we took our JTM 45 and changed the preamp tube? And what if we did something from history that wasn't done but is there now? If they made that into a 20-watt combo and a 50-watt head, you know, this sort of, like, kind of like how Fender does with this paranormal thing, it's like they could create some stuff that, had it been released in the 60s, would be iconic today. Like someone like a Jimmy Page would have picked it up, but it didn't exist. They didn't do it. You know, they could put it in a little 210 combo and mass produce it. And 20 watts, like a 20, you know, and if the pitch is, here's a 20 watt JTM 45 with a switchable 12AX7 or EF86, that starts to like grab Vox people's attention. If it has beautiful cleans, which I think they can do, they add a little like a reverb tank in there, a la Fender, starts to be like, whoa, this is like cool modern boutique thing with the Marshall name on it. You know, it's gonna have that Marshall sound. I mean, I just think there's so many cool things they could do. Man, if I ran that company, it would be the most kick-ass company. I'm gonna do another video called like If I Ran Marshall, because I got a million ideas for them. But I think they're going to get into this modeling thing, and I think they need to. I think it's so dumb of them not to have a pedal that does JTM 45 Blues Breaker, Super Tremolo, 50 watt, you know, small box head, Marshall Jubilee, 5 sounds with the original EQs, all modeled, all digital. Man, such a layup product. I mean, and it would sell so well. But I mean, it's just such a layup. It's so easy to productize this stuff these days. I don't know what people are waiting for. These brands don't seem to understand, if they would get into the modeling world, they have so much authority. Fender released the Toemaster Pro and everyone was all excited. And I'll be honest, they put in 1/10 of the amount of amps they should have put in. I was so let down by the amount of amps in there. Now, I thought the Toemaster Pro was very cool. They had some problems up front. They fixed them. Bravo to them. I may be getting another Toemaster Pro and beginning to support it with some presets now that you can share presets. My complaints about Toemaster Pro was sharing was shite. There were some obvious problems where gear in the signal chain but turned off was affecting your sound, which is not really something we want in the digital world. They fixed that. And there also was some presentation problems where you could be looking at a whole pedal board and only one pedal was off screen, and you would have to slide over, like move the whole view, and it would just be confusing because it looked like you were looking at all the pedals, but actually one was off of the frame. Which, so, you know, it's like kind of like either let me see half the pedal board at one time or let me see all of it. I'm confused if one pedal could be out here by itself and cut off on the display. Stuff like that all seemed to be getting fixed though. And I just wanted more amps out of it. It sounded, in my opinion, in a lot of cases better than the Helix. So I'll probably buy a Toemaster Pro again at some point and maybe start making some presets for it. But that's my prediction. Marshall's going to get in big time. And then my last prediction, UA is going to do what Strymon has never done. And I have no idea why Strymon hates money. Why does Strymon hate money? Can someone tell me that? Strymon hates money, and I'll tell you why. They could have a long time ago built a unit that just took a couple things out of the Big Sky, the Mobius, and all these other things. They haven't. They instead waited, came out with the Big Sky 2, and I hope they're selling a lot of those things. But man, way too much money. And it doesn't seem like it's worth replacing the Big Sky over. I don't know what those guys are doing. They could have put together the most incredible multi-effects unit with all their stuff. They could have added in the Iridium and basically given us the most kick-ass competitor to Helix, where they basically said, look, this has the Mobius, the Timeline, the Big Sky, our drives from their drive unit, I can't even remember, and our amp emulation, software that's beautiful, in a board that's sleek and metal like our stuff. I mean, just win the lotto already. What are you guys doing? I gotta think you looked at this and couldn't get it manufactured at a decent price. I hope that's the case, because gosh, it should exist. But at this point, UA just needs to do what Strymon's like. They need to take all their stuff, put it together. The market will pay easily $7.99, $5.99, $6.99, whatever, if you put all of those amp pedals in one box, or you put it dual so you can send one to one side, one to the other. Basically build that unit into one box. Give me Fender Tweed and Fender Blackface on one side. No, don't even do it on sides. Give me all of them on all sides. Give me an editor. Give me decreased knobs there, so I just have my playing controls, and when you go into the software, there's more to tweak that you can't access unless you're on the software. That is what people want. Please listen to me, UA. What people want is simple amp emulation like you've done with your pedals. You did an incredible job. They just want the knobs that are on the amp on the pedal. And in the software, you can go as deep as you want. Please, that is what the market is demanding. I don't know how so many companies get this confused. I'm not saying UA has got this confused. They seem to have gotten it right. But please put all those into one box. You will sell a lot of those. I think right now a lot of people are looking at your product going, this is great, but I don't want an amp collection of these pedals because you might replace them with something else. And that is a big ask. I don't want to be stuck with a bunch of $3.99 pedals and then I got to offload them when you come out with the 2.0 or when you come out with another one or when you come out with a this or that. The next logical thing is a switcher. It's got to be $2.99, $6.99, load in some IRs. Gosh, if you could put in all the aux stuff. You know, in a previous video I said I didn't understand that little aux pedal. It's a great thing. I just don't think people are demanding that in a standalone pedal. Put that in that bigger unit. Make that just, you know, I mean, it would sell so well, it would get so much hype. And you got to understand there's white space. Listen, Strymon and UA, listen to me. There's white space on the board in the modeling world, but ultra high quality. Fractal is the only people up here who present themselves as modeling, but like top tier modeling quality. I think UA has positioned their pedals there. Just like the amp, all their videos were done in a studio environment. They got, what's his name? Santiago, the guy, James Santiago, who made the Sparkle Drive and maybe one of the best pedals ever made. That one, the purple, the Sparkle Drive, and the other one, the Giggity. Oh my gosh, if you haven't checked out a Giggity, it's maybe one of the best pedals ever invented. It's so much better than everything else. It confused the market and people didn't buy it. Because they go, what's this for? And the answer's simple. It transforms an amp into a completely separate amp, which is like pre-modeling, pre-everything, right? It's like, you got a Fender, I'll make it an 18-watt Marshall. You got an 18-watt Marshall, I'll make it a twin or a deluxe reverb. And it does it, man. It is, and that came from Eric Johnson inspiration. Anyway, James Santiago over at UA is doing absolutely the best stuff. Just killer things. I love what UA's done. Put it in a big box, please. Fractal is the only one who presents themselves as ultra premium modeling, right? Their name, Fractal, like we're geeks, we're math, it's all about the things. You guys have so much studio clout, so much this. You will move all those things off the board. You will have people who are going to say, I was on Tone X, but I think this is better. I'm going to go there. Because it sits right next to all the Strymon and all the other UA stuff with that beautiful sleek lines. The branding all looks good. The software, it just looks sleek. You know what I mean? It just looks like that stuff belongs in a sleek, clean, modern studio. That's an aesthetic. That's a vibe. I think people want it. Those are my predictions for NAMM. This is an amazing Greco guitar. I also have another prediction that will not come true. The Japanese just are able to start importing these things, and we stop buying Gibsons. Not going to happen, but kind of wish it would happen. So authentic it falls out of tune. Amazing.